Coon here from Ron Coon Motorsports. This is video number 11 in the So You Want to Be a Racer series. It's titled Get Your Rear in Gear. This video we're going to take you out in the shop. We're going to be changing gears in a quick change rear end. We're also going to be checking axles and drive plates. For you guys that don't know a lot about quick change, you can kind of see how they work. And for you guys that do use a quick change, we got a few hints. A few things you might want to think about, ways of maybe doing stuff different. So with that said, let's go out in the shop and get busy. Okay, in this video we're going to show you kind of what it takes, what we do to the rear end to go racing. We've already checked play in the rear end before we tore it down. We've got the drive hubs off, the axles out, cleaned those up, checked them. And just to save time, instead of showing you all that, we'll show you the reassembly part of it and kind of show you some of the things we're checking for. But while we've got the axles out, it's a lot easier to change the quick change gears. Not necessarily easier, but you don't have to put it in neutral. You know, everything can already spin. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to be going to kind of a short 3/8 track. So if I remember right, the gear number is a 28. This is a 411 ring and pinion quick change. So that will give us a final gear of about 649, 650. Which will give us about 65, 6600 RPM, which is about what we like to run it with a stock bottom. So with that in mind, we'll take a break, get the camera moved, and we'll kind of show you guys that don't know much about quick change, kind of what goes on in the rear end when you see guys in the pits with late models and stuff back there doing stuff. So hang on, grab a cold one, we'll be right back. Okay, like I told you, what we're going to do is we're going to change gears. Inside this housing are two shafts that gears fit onto and give you your final ratios. So let's go ahead and take the cover off. Usually when you do this, you want to save the bottom bolt for last, because if you don't, grease will run all over the place before you get the cover off. We probably won't have much oil since we've drained the entire rear end already. But when you do a basic gear change, it's got quite a bit of oil that'll come out. Yeah, there's some. Okay, inside you've got two bearings with these two shafts run on. One of the first things you want to do is to check these bearings, make sure they're free, make sure they're not loose. You want to do that every time you change gears. I don't care if you're even in a hurry in the pits. Alright, here's your two gears. They just fit on the spline shafts. This one here is a lower shaft. It actually is what the yoke's hooked onto, that your drive shaft is hooked onto, that goes to your motor. This one up here goes to the pinion gear. This is the pinion gear, which turns the ring. Most cars, of course, this is the other way, and that's what the yoke hooks onto. But by changing these gears, you can change gear ratios without changing your ring and pinion. So like I said, we're going to put a number 28 in this. Always make sure, check your shafts too, that they're not loose. Gear sets, like I said, they're marked in sets. This is a 28. With this particular one, this will give us a 649 final ratio. You always want to check in your book. For instance, this is a 28. Your big gear has 30 teeth and your small one has 19. Different companies will make sets that have slightly different teeth to get that ratio. So you want to make sure that you've got a set. For instance, this one is supposed to have 19 teeth and 30 teeth. If you don't, you're going to have big time problems. Now, the other thing is, with these gears, you can have two different ratios. You're going to run a 649 for this with the gears in like this. But if you were to turn those gears upside down and put them in like this, you'd only have a 260. You'll only make that mistake once, hopefully, because as you can guess, that's a total dog. It might go 300 miles an hour, but it won't get out of the hole. So, a little rule we always use to remember which goes on top. You always put gears in like Dolly Parton, and that is big on top, small on the bottom, just like that. So what we'll do next is clean the cover up, and we'll reinstall it, and then we'll start filling it full of lube. Alright, I've got the cover cleaned up and ready to go. While it's off, you want to, they have a pair of holes. You can use either one. You want to take the plug out. What that is when you go and fill the rear end, this is an old Franklin, and you fill it to where oil just starts to seep out of this hole. Another thing, you can use silicone, RTV, whatever you want to use, but these reusable steel shim gaskets are the way to go. I can't even tell you how old this one is, and they're not that expensive. Also, one last thing. Before you pack the old gears away, okay, wipe them down, clean them up, check the spline area, and check the teeth to make sure they're okay before you put them away, because you don't want to be pulling these out, find out they're fractured, or even worse, have one grenade on you because you didn't check it. So putting the cover on is just like you took it off. There's no up or down to it. The bearings are the same. Something you want to remember is these are steel bolts. You're going into an aluminum housing. So you don't want to tighten these down super tight. I mean, you don't want the thing falling off, but you don't want to get a breaker bar on them either, because they do strip out fairly easy. And if you do strip one out, it's going to ruin your day. And chances are, if you strip one out, it's going to be the bottom one, so it will leak oil. You never get lucky enough for it to be the top one. So what I do is just take my impact driver, bring them, basically just bring them down to snug. This Harbor Freight, not driver's perfect for it. It doesn't have enough power to really screw anything up. And I just take a regular ratchet, and all you want to do is turn it basically 1/8 of a turn from snug. So okay, you know, there you got that, there you got that. So basically all you want to do is like so. That one's a little loose yet. This was that one. Okay. Also on a quick change, we're going to be, right now we've got the body loose. This tube goes up to a filler can. Since you're talking small diameter, they do have a breather on them, which is on mine over here. You got to loosen that up. It'll fill the rear end a lot quicker that way, and it won't backfire or back blurble or whatever you want to call them, kick oil up all over the car. So we've got our lower plug back in. We've got the case on. We've got the gears in we want. All we got to do is fill this thing full of oil, and that part will be done. But we won't fill it until we put the axles back in, because of course if we do, all the oil is just going to run out the tubes. So that's what we'll do next, is show you axles and drive plates. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to install the axles. This is kind of, you guys have heard the floater. Well, this is a floater type of rear end. The axles don't have any kind of a drive plate on them. They're splined on both ends. Okay. The hub is attached to a snout on the rear end tube, and it's all set in there with a lock nut, bearings type of stuff. What this does is, if this axle happened to break, the whole wheel tire assembly doesn't come flying off. It just rotates on its own. And the way that the power gets from the center spool to the hub to turn it is with these drive plates, which are splined on the inside also, and they bolt to the hub. So you kind of get a deal that's kind of like this. It turns. So what we do, it's easier if you put a bolt. They make special tools for this also, but it's kind of wrestle it in there. Even though this system gets oiled once it's all together and filled, we kind of like to just spray a little bit of lithium on it, because you are putting a steel against aluminum, and it makes sliding a little easier. So it just goes through the tube. And into the spool like that. And then the axle on the other side goes in the same way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a break, because you do have oil coming to this outside through the tube. You want to silicone or RTV around here where this fits in, like so that it doesn't leak. So we'll take a break and we'll RTV these, and then we'll move on. Okay, we've put a little RTV around it. All this does is just slides over the spline on the axle, bring the hub around to where it matches it. Now these bolts, personally, I like to put a little bit of Loctite around them, because you are putting a steel bolt into an aluminum hub, and it can strip out easy. So there again, you don't want to get on these things and put a breaker bar to them. Also, you want to start them all by hand, because if you don't, you're going to end up cross-threading them. Like I said, it's aluminum. It doesn't take much. And like I said, you don't want to put these down tight. So what we're going to do is we're going to just bring them down to snug. And once we've got them all snug down, we'll go and do them by hand, just like we did on the rear cover. We'll turn them, approximately an eighth of a turn to, a little over past snug. And that'll keep them in place. Okay, that's all there is to putting an axle in the drive plate in on a quick change rear end. So now we'll just do the same on the other side. And other than filling the rear end full of oil, this will be ready to go racing. Catch you later. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you guys found it informative or at least entertaining. If you want to get a hold of me or leave comments, you can do that through YouTube, or you can contact me through my personal email account. That's ron@roncoon.com. Until next time, see you at the races.